Yo, what up, everybody? It's been a couple months. We took some time, and Tad is already lagging on the screen. God damn.
Great.
We're trying out a new app, and we took a break. Tad got married. Big deal. Hell yeah. And just, yeah, look at that ring. Yeah, so yeah, we're just taking some time. We're ready to get back into it and have hopefully some people on the pod and talk about some football and plants and photos.
Heck yeah, it's good to be back, and I'm excited to hopefully kick this off again, and we're going to do it better the second time around. So happy everyone stuck around, and let us know what you think about it. This is episode 11 coming out.
11. Nice.
All right, cool. Well, I think I'll jump into plants talk right off the bat, get some information going about plants. My plant of the week this week is going to be alströmerias. I don't know if you've heard of those, but a common name for them is a Peruvian lily or lily of the Incas. So Incas, you can kind of maybe guess that these plants are native to South America. It's kind of cool. There's two distinct centers of diversity. One of them's coming from central Chile, which those are winter crops, and they are a little bit more hardy. And then the other diversity is coming from eastern Brazil, and those are going to be summer crops, a little bit warmer. And yeah, so those are like the two main branches of the alströmeria family, and then the alströmerias that you see in the store are probably going to be hybrids of both of those. They combine both the Chile and the Brazil varieties to be a little bit more aesthetically pleasing, along with crossing the summer and the winter varieties combats seasonal dormancy. So it kind of results in alströmerias that flower for most of the year instead of alströmerias that only flower for part of the year, and then the plant will go into a dormancy period where it almost looks kind of dead, but it's just kind of saving its nutrients and stuff for when the growing conditions are right for it.
So where can you grow them?
Yeah, so they're zone 8 to 10, so it's a really warm plant. A lot of people grow them in pots, and then you can bring them in the winter time and kind of keep them in a partially lit to like pretty well lit area that's a little bit cooler, and keep the soil moist during the winter time, and then they put them back out in the spring, and that kind of allows you to be able to grow them in a pot. A lot of people like them for cut flowers, so people will grow them and then trim the flowers and then use them in vases because they stay firm and nice looking for up to 2 weeks, I think. So they're a little bit more longer lifespan than some of the other flowers you run into. But yeah, they're a little bit warmer coming from the South American climate. They're going to be really hard to grow in anywhere in Montana. Most places in Colorado grow them as annuals, so they don't come back. But a interesting fact, the reason I chose alströmerias is because the greenhouse that I work at in Colorado, we grow majority, like 80-90% of all the alströmerias sold in North America. So
Wow.
chances are if you get an alströmeria, it came through my greenhouse at some point. So
That's
that's
cool.
just kind of cool. And we're in Colorado, but we're able to basically we stick the cuttings, start them, and then grow them to maybe only about, like 4 inches, 5 inches tall, and then we ship them out, and then other greenhouses will kind of like nurture them up to be a bigger plant. But that's why I chose alströmerias, because I've been looking at them a lot, and they're pretty cool once you see them bloom. But
Yeah,
I
they're
never get
pretty.
to see them bloom. So
They're real
yeah.
pretty. How many think you grow?
Ah, man, that's a good question. It's hard because I have 4 frames, 3 or 4 frames usually that are all the way full and they rotate. So they'll ship out a section of them, but then they'll fill in the section with new plants. So it's kind of like on a rotation. And January, February, that rotation is pretty much done. But we grow them heavily from October into February, pretty much.
So just give a crazy number. What do you got? Give us a number. Thousands, 50,000,
Yeah,
hundred
definitely
thousand.
thousands. Yeah, probably in between 50 and 100, I would say.
Wow, that's pretty. That's a big number. That's cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. And not all of them make it. Probably about 80% of them make it, but it's uh it's pretty cool.
Yeah. You got some pictures to put up on the screen for people to see them.
I do, yeah. I'll send them over to you, but
Cool.
we'll be able to hopefully add them in. Um, One other thing I was just gonna say is that if you do handle these, okay, so a little bit about winterizing. If they're in the ground, sometimes people have success by just packing mulch around them and just kind of like covering them and really insulating them in the ground. They will come back sometimes, depending on where you're at. But another option would be to dig the tubers out of the ground, which are kind of like the roots that store the nutrients and everything the plant needs to get started again in the spring. So if you dig those up and you kind of put them in your garage in some soil and don't let them dry out too much, theoretically in the spring you could take them back out, put them in the ground, and they should sprout back up. One thing about the Alstroemeria tubers is they don't really like being disturbed. So if you're too hard on them, too rough on them, it'll just kill them. They're not going to come back. And when you do handle the Alstromerias, it's a good idea to wear gloves because they are mildly toxic. I've heard of people having like skin irritations when they handle them, and I know that if you eat them or ingest them, it can make you pretty sick. So just a good idea to be safe rather than sorry.
Yeah.
And yeah, the last thing I'll say is that they're prone to aphids, spider mites, and white flies. So those are just some of the pests you could watch out for. And then a couple of the diseases are they get botrytis, which kind of just shows up on the leaves and on the stems, which is like a yellowing or a rotting. They also suffer from pythium, which is like a root rot. So if they stay too wet for too long, or they just are soaked and they can't get any oxygen, then they will develop pythium, and that pretty much kills them most of the time. And then the last one is Amaryllis mosaic virus, which is just kind of like a weird virus that plants can, well, mostly just these guys can get from, well, it's transferred on aphids, and you can notice it by blotchy leaves and some chlorotic streaking going on in your plant. But
Hmm.
yeah, that's kind of common for a lot of plants, but those were the main problems that I found. So
It's a pretty cool plant.
yeah, it's cool, and yeah, I'll hopefully I'll be able to take some pictures of them and upload them to the Instagram or something. You guys can check them out.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. They're pretty.
Yeah.
Um, heck yeah, man. Well, I guess that will lead into the photo of the week. Because I don't know if I have any more questions about it. I think you answered like the rotting was interesting to me.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, all that stuff's like kind of hard sometimes to like notice. You got to kind of keep a close eye on it, but if anybody has any questions about those or, wants to know any more information, shoot us an email or hit me on Instagram and I can try and help you out or answer any more questions. So.
High Country Hangouts.
At Gmail, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, cool, man. Well, I guess I'll lead in the photo of the week, and it is of a grizzly. 3, 4, maybe a month back, I went hunting up in Cook City, and we were driving back on a pass up there. And while we were driving up there, we'd been seeing a bunch of does, a bunch of deer, no bucks at the moment, and we're about halfway to where we were trying to get, and I just like look to my left, and I just see this head, and like just big head, and between a couple trees, and there's some bushes, and like Grizzly, like just right off. Like, okay, cool. So I stopped the truck just real fast, and my uncle's next to me, and like Grizzly. And so I back up, and we just get to see him. He's just chewing a bunch of bugs and shit, probably. Like there's a big tree, and he's just going to town on it and tearing it apart, and it was pretty cool. Often get to like see a grizzly without like a bunch of people around, so it was pretty special.
Or without being like kind of freaked out,
Yeah,
because I don't know, you got kind of lucky because you had your car and you were kind of able to take a picture from a
yeah,
safe point. Whereas if you're hunting and you're out there hiking and you run into one, it's a little bit more anxiety producing.
oh for sure. And he was like 20 yards away, maybe. Like that feels right, Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah.
You don't
Do you
often
know
like.
if it was a Do you know if it was a boy or girl or
I think it was a boar. Yeah, so a
boy?
boar
Okay.
is a male, and then a sow is a female, and then cubs are babies. So,
Nice.
yeah, yeah, I feel confident it was a male because it was big. He was a big boy for up here for
Nice.
like being out here. It was a big bear.
Nice. What time of day was it?
Oh, it was 4 o'clock, maybe 3 o'clock, somewhere in there.
Nice. Okay.
Not too late.
Couple hours before sunset.
Yeah, yeah. It was so windy up there, and so the next day I ended up shooting a deer, and as the crow flies, it was probably a mile and a half from where we saw the bear, possibly 2 miles, maybe less than. I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was hunting too, probably.
He may have gotten into the gut pile, so yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
No, those are awesome pictures, dude. That's sweet. You got to see him that close, 20 yards. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, because I mean, you see, like you said, like just going into Yellowstone, it's a pain in the butt. I saw Grizzly earlier this summer, and there's 35 cars, just on the
Yeah.
side of the road, 100 people just staring at this bear and stressing it out with its cubs, and
Yeah.
um, yeah, it was cool. There was a couple cars that passed, and there's this girl. I don't think she'd ever seen a grizzly. They're from like somewhere Midwest, East, and
Nice.
they got to see a grizzly like with no one around. Yeah,
Yeah, that's crazy. That's awesome.
yeah. A lot of
Um,
bears here. It's scary.
yeah, that's cool. And the thing about it is like usually when you see pictures of bears, the ones that are really close and like detailed, you see the cameras and the lenses they're using, and they're not 20 yards away. They're like 100 or 50 yards. They're a lot farther. So just being 20 yards and feeling like you can safely take a picture, like that's a
Yeah,
pretty cool experience. So
yeah, it is. Yeah,
yeah,
hopefully, more moments to come like that at a safe distance for sure.
yeah. And just while we're on the bear topic, might as well mention that bear
R.I.P.
up in
399.
yeah, that bear up in Teton, man, got hit by a car in a canyon that was pretty dang far away from where everybody else was seeing her for a while. So
Yeah,
it's just kind of a sad situation because everybody loved that bear and she had a bunch of cubs and had a bunch of photos. She was famous, so
yep.
everybody kind of mourned the death of the bear getting hit by the car, and hopefully her cubs will kind of take her place and we'll keep seeing them. But
Yeah, she was 28 years old. I mean, I'm 28. I'll be 29 in a couple weeks, and it's crazy.
that's crazy.
Yep.
That's a mature bear. Imagine how much crazy things that bear knew.
Dude, I bet she's seen some wild, and done some wild shit.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, bears, man, they live a crazy life. They just, for one, their lifespan is not that, like, it's not 28 years. Their lifespan is, I'd say, anywhere from 10 to 20, but
A lot
20 is,
shorter, yeah.
that's a lot because for one, they're a predator, and then they also, they have, depending on what the food's like in the winter, and then also fighting each other, and then boars killing cubs of another boar. They don't care. It's the Wild
hmm
West out there for them.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, any animal living in the wild for 28 years, that's like
That's
the the wild's gnarly, dude. There's all kinds of crazy stuff, and living as a wild animal's a hard life. You
yeah,
see it every time you see that nature is metal.
yeah,
That It's a hard life out there, but
It is.
it
It
makes you
is.
appreciate it more. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, when I saw the Snake River, I was surprised it was that canyon. I was like, wow, so right in our backyard.
Yeah, I was surprised too, honestly.
I mean, that's like 50 plus miles, right? 60 miles from where she's seen so much, 70 miles.
Yeah, and that's like as the crow flies, so it's
Yeah, yeah,
all kinds of crazy terrain up and over, rocky mountains, trees, canyons, rivers. Like it's crazy over there. So.
yeah. I saw a quote or something, someone saying like, she was crossing through the forest, but we are like she's crossing the road. It's like she was crossing the forest. She can't tell the difference, but we can.
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of what we've created. So that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, I guess we got what fantasy football next, right?
Yeah, we'll just touch on some fantasy football or just some football in general. If you don't play fantasy, still maybe tune in because we talk about some fun football facts every day, okay?
What did I see yesterday? I saw there's something just got posted. The Seattle Seahawks are the only NFL team to play an AFC and NFC championship game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah. There's a whole bunch of them. I'll have to go find it. Lots of facts.
The Steelers still have to play 6 divisional games this year.
It's going to be a bloodbath for the Steelers for sure.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
It's not. I don't know. I'm actually feeling pretty good. Like I think they can win half of them. So if
I
they can win half,
oh
I
they're
think
gonna
they can make it to the playoffs.
oh yeah they're gonna win half. They're totally gonna
Yeah.
win half. There's no way they don't win half of those games. I mean they're gonna beat the Browns twice unless they've already beat them once. And then they're gonna they'll probably split with the Ravens and split with the Bengals. So like
Maybe.
yeah the Bengals
Yeah.
it sucks man. The Bengals are so good like on offense and
They are. Their defense,
the
I
defense
mean
played
it's
good yesterday until like the
yeah, it
first
doesn't
fourth
seem
quarter.
like it's terrible like the defense side, but they just end up losing games by a couple points.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's bad luck. That way the NFL is. It just comes down to a play here and a play there, and so they just kind of.
Yeah, a little bit of
Yeah.
luck, a little bit of bad coaching or bad play calling, I feel like sometimes too.
Oh, for sure. That's yeah.
Like they're always coming from behind. Why can't they score in the first quarter? I don't know.
Well, and they always start slow in the first couple games of the year too. They always lose like 3 or 4 games in the first part of the year, and then they have to crawl out of that. And
Yeah,
I think Zach Taylor's done a solid job as their coach, but the Bengals, I think could see them moving on after this year from him. Their
yep,
defensive
I can
coach is
too.
awesome though. So like Louis Anaromo, I can't pronounce his last name, but he and he's had some just insane games with Patrick Mahomes, like defensive schemes to like contain him, and he's doing really good with Lamar, but Lamar's just inevitable last night. Like he just finds a way. So
Yeah. Yep, last night it was the Bengals and the Ravens who played, and the Ravens won by 1 point, and I wanted to get your opinion on the go for two at the end. Do you like it, or would you have kicked the field goal and taken it to overtime?
would have gone for two because I think that what happens is so a couple things. The new kickoff rule, they get it at the 30-yard line now. So if they do a fair catch in the end zone after a touchdown, they get it at the 30 yards. They only have to go 40 yards to get to um, field goal range. I mean, even maybe 30 yards because Justin Tucker's has such a good leg. He has the NFL record, I think, at 65 yards or something like that. And, also, you're playing Lamar Jackson, who just last week, right before halftime, they threw a touchdown with like 10 seconds left in the half. So uh, going for the win there was, I think, great. I think the play call, they were getting the way the offensive line isn't great, and so Joe Burrow's getting pressured every single like snap. They had 40 pressures last night. It was ridiculous, and so they had to keep 2 players in to like chip and block the defense, and so they only had 3 people running a route. They had Gesicki, Hudson or something like that, and then Chase.
Sticky Gasicki.
And yeah, I wish he would have had a touchdown. That would have been great for my fantasy football team. So Gesicki gets held on the play. The other guy, he was just the ball wasn't like thrown well enough, and then Chase ended up getting open, but it was like right as the pressure was getting to Joe Burrow. So The play call, I'm not hot on. I think they could have done something a little different, maybe a play action boot or some maybe a little more creative for Joe Burrow to get it in the end zone. But I agree.
Hmm.
I agree with going for it. I think that was the right
Okay.
move.
So then rewind Monday night game. Tampa Bay versus Kansas City. You think Tampa Bay should have gone for two instead of taking it to OT?
It depends on the game. It depends on who you're playing. So probably yeah, because you're playing Patrick Mahomes. So that happened 3 times in the last week. So the games that I
Because I
was
feel
paying
like
attention to,
Lamar and Patrick are pretty similar on offense, where it's like they're almost impossible to stop in that last drive
they're
kind of
pretty.
thing.
Yeah, they're pretty difficult, man. So I think going for two would have been right. Move on the Bucks end. So the Seahawks, they had the similar thing. They scored at the end of um, regulation. They could have gone for two and taken the lead, but there's still 30 seconds left or something
Mm.
like that. So if a team, I think the right move is definitely going for two if there's like 15 seconds left, 10 seconds left. But if there's 30 seconds left, 40 seconds left, you still give that team time to go down and kick the field goal. So there's a difference in mindset and aggression. So if you give the team the opportunity to be more aggressive, they have to be, and so there's more opportunity for them to go down and get the field goal. I think. Um,
That's fair.
but
You
with
got to admit though that like Tampa Bay, if they would have won the coin toss, Baker might have been able to win it, right?
Oh, for sure. Baker is
So it
playing.
comes down to a bad coin toss
Yeah,
sometimes.
oh, yeah. I think
Whoever
Baker.
gets the ball first. Don't you think they should both do you think maybe they should both have an opportunity to score then in OT?
Everyone, unless so many people do. I don't know if I do anymore. Because in I don't know if I do. I think you're getting into college. Like college has had that like method forever, and so you're getting into like college rules. And maybe I'm just a purist of like football and stubborn like that. But also at the same time, yeah. I mean, it'd be cool to see Baker have an opportunity to go down and score.
Yeah, there's just something about like the fans who want to see all of the luck kind of taken out of it and they want to boil it down to like who is truly the best team. And when you leave the coin flip in, it feels a little bit like it boils down to luck at the end sometimes.
A little bit, yeah. I can see that. I don't know. It,
But
it it doesn't. I could go either way with it. Like they get it if you kick a field goal, you have the opportunity. If like the offense gets it first and then you kick a field goal, the other team can go down and get a field goal or score. So there still is an
yeah.
opportunity there. It's just like keep the team out of the goal, out of the end zone.
Yeah, there's something to say about hey, have a better defense, you know.
Yeah, and it's Patrick Mahomes. It's Lamar Jackson. It's Matthew Stafford. It's the best quarterbacks in the NFL. It's the top five.
It's Andy Reid, man.
It's
He's
Andy
too
Reid.
goddamn good.
Yeah, he really is, man. And I mean, diving more into that game, depending on what your fantasy football, um, point system's like, he either has 67 points, he could have 50 points. Jamar Chase absolutely went off yesterday. And, oh, it sucks. I played him in two.
Yeah, dude. He went ham sandwich. It's crazy.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns, 240 yards, 11 receptions, something like that. I don't have the stats in front of me, but it was wild.
Yeah, and with him having that good of a day, you also know that Joe Burrow had a very good day too. So
Yep, yep. Joe Burrow 2 weeks in a row having solid nights.
yeah, you know Joe Burrow's good. He just is on a weird team. It seems like.
Yeah, man. I couldn't imagine Joe Burrow on a Andy Reid team or a Ravens team, or even like seeing him on the Lions. The Lions, that'd be so sick. Like Jared Goff has been amazing, but like,
Make him a Dolphin.
ugh, he should have been a Dolphin, but I don't know if you know much about that. But
Yeah.
the owner wanted Brian Flores to you know call each game basically and lose, and for Joe Burrow, and they ended up tanking for Tua instead. And, they could have had Joe Burrow if they would have lost one game, and they didn't.
Yeah, I mean, hindsight's 2020, obviously, but man, I would have been way better, it seems like.
Yeah, man. Tua, it sucks. He's had so many head injuries for sure.
Yep, it does. Because he's so good. Achan is so good when he's on the field. It's awesome.
Not for me, but yeah, it's awesome. Fantasy football
Yeah.
playoffs.
Yeah, you played him this week, so I see that. Dang. Well, anything else we want to touch on real quick? I mean, did you have a player slash a bet of the week that you might want to lock in?
I don't know. Maybe a player. Um, this is a kind of a bad week for the NFL. I think there's some crappy games. I'd take Jaden Daniels. 2 touchdowns for sure. They play the Steelers.
Yes, they do.
I think good teams bring out the best in great players when they play them, and so
Yeah.
I'm expecting him to have a good game. Um, Saquon Barkley against Dallas, I like that one in Dallas. He's just been solid all year long. I could see Saquon going for, maybe 100 total yards.
Well, we should just mention that play last week about him because that was awesome, man.
The reverse hurdle.
Yes, the
Yeah,
reverse hurdle.
yeah, never seen that before. Never will see it again.
For real.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't know if
Um,
I got anything. You? I mean, there's plenty of anytime touchdowns.
yep. Honestly, I was literally just looking for Pickens' line. I feel like George Pickens is going to have a day. They're coming off the bye, and they got Mike Williams on the team. He's the best wide receiver in the game, so you know that Pickens is going to pop up. I'm not a big fan of Mike Williams, but I got to be a fan now because he's on my team. So let's
Oh
go,
man,
Mike.
it's going to be great. I think having him across from Pickens. You got two great deep ball trackers of the football when it's in the air, and then you have arguably one of the best deep ball throwers in NFL history throwing them the football. So, um, as much disdain as I had for Russ a couple years ago, I've come around and I'm down to watch him succeed. And if he can lead the Steelers to a Super Bowl and get his career back on the Hall of Fame track, power to him, man. I'd appreciate that and enjoy that for him. But he's still corny. He's still a corny dude.
He is pretty corny. That's a great way to talk about Russell Wilson because even when he's interviewed, his replies and just kind of like what he says is like it's almost like he's trying to do like a quote or like so someone will quote him in 10 years like Russ Wilson said this. Everything he says is like that though.
I think he heard a lot of that outside, noise, I guess you could put it like that. And he has been putting his head down and not being quite like that in Pittsburgh. Like he had a catchphrase for Seattle, go Hawks, which is not just his. That's been a thing. But then what did he have? Let's ride and
That's right.
Denver, which wasn't his. Also, it was already there, but he just kind of like brought it more to light, I guess. And he I think for me, after watching him for whatever 12 years, it's been 11, 13 years, something like that. He
Yeah, it's a long time.
he always acted the way everyone thought the quarterback should act, if that makes sense, of the franchise. But he never felt like he was acting officially himself, even though I think him being corny is just himself. He's just a corny dude.
Yeah, he is a corny dude. He's also I don't know. Yeah, he has a different background than a lot of other NFL players, it seems like. So.
Yeah. Well, and he's also married to Sierra, who's a complete, real, legit superstar in stardom, probably more than Russell, right?
Wait, the singer?
Yeah. You didn't know he's married to Sierra?
No,
Oh,
that's
dude,
crazy.
his stepson is Future's kid.
What?
Dude, yeah. So there's been so much beef over the
That's
last
funny.
I don't know 10 years they've been together, or maybe not quite 10, but there's been so much beef between it's not he doesn't bring it to light, but with Future, Future talks so much shit on Russell.
I can just see Russ being like, "Amen, thank you God," and his kids just like all in diamond chains, just like not giving a crud about any of that kind of stuff. But
That's definitely not how it is. It's complete opposite.
that's interesting.
Yeah,
That's
and it's
cool.
actually Future Junior. I think his name is Future. I think it's
On God, future.
yeah, that's some funny shit.
That's crazy. Okay, so the over under for Pickens is 63.5. We're definitely hitting the over on George Pickens this week. I'm feeling confident in it. So
Mm, do I agree? Probably, yeah. I agree. Um,
All right,
anything
well, you
else?
heard it here first. When you guys win big bucks,
We
take your family out.
we
Take
don't
your family out to dinner.
we don't give financial advice. We just like those plays.
Yeah, we just bet
Yeah.
for fun.
Any teams that you like a lot this year that have maybe surprised you?
Yeah, the Commanders. That's crazy.
Yeah, I didn't expect them. I think a team to me is the Cardinals. They have been playing like good football. And it
Yeah.
sucks. What I hate is that the NFC West is such a good division. Even their records aren't reflecting it quite this year, but like it's why can't they be bad again and Seattle just run the division?
Yeah.
I miss
Yeah,
those
that's
days.
interesting. Honestly, the Steelers are a little surprising to me too. They're 7-2 or something. I didn't anticipate that. So
Yeah, I think I just had a feeling that Russell was going to come in and just do good. So you'll
yeah,
definitely figure out more when they play the Ravens. I think that's going to be like a really good game to just compare teams. So
I hate the Ravens. I hope we kill them.
I love the Ravens, kind of.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't actually love the Ravens.
I,
Kyle, don't let him fool you.
I'll take the Steelers over the Ravens, but I like Lamar. Lamar's solid, and I like Derrick Henry. And Seattle has
I
their
like
toes.
Derrick
So
Henry too.
it's crazy what Seattle with Mike McDonald meant to that team because like their defense is not as good as it was last year.
Yeah, they give up deep plays.
Actually, before we end this, I'm gonna go on a rant real quick. Um, you know what I need to get off my chest is Seahawks fans need to shut up. They're just terrible, all right? They're the worst fans, right now. They're not being patient. They're not being calm. They need to let Mike McDonald just like start his program, build up the team the way he wants it and he sees fit, and they just need to shut up. Going 3-1 in the first 4 games was probably like not a good thing because it gave us like false hope for like a 12-5 season or something like that. And these guys are just going on fire John Schneider, fire blah blah blah. Like, shut up. It's just going to take some time. It's going to be a year, maybe two. The Ravens' defense was not as good that first year Mike Donald took over. The next year, they are the best in the league. You got to be patient. The team building, it's going to take some time. Geno does not have a good offensive line. The Seahawks offensive line totally just sucks. They're not good.
Right.
It's going to take some time to build it the way that him and John Snyder see fit, and you just got to trust it and not be such a little bitch.
Yeah, everybody's really scared because they got rid of Pete Carroll and it's a big change. So now the second something's going wrong, they're just gonna throw everything out and start over. But you're gonna end up throwing out the baby with the fucking bathwater if you throw out too soon.
Yeah,
So just
you just got to
hold
take
your
time
horses.
and let the culture build. I got faith in it. It's just gonna take a couple years.
Yep, I
Thanks.
feel that.
Need to get that
Honestly,
off my chest.
The Seahawks are playing. They're having a better season than I thought they were going to without Pete. So it's
Dude,
going pretty good.
the last 5 games, 6 games have been rough though. They've lost I think 5 out of the last 6 games. So it's been
DK
rough.
being gone's a big
Yeah,
hole in the offense, and
yeah.
like you said, their offensive
It's
line
just
is
terrible. They're just bad. They're just bad.
it's letting a lot of things
Yeah.
through. So
If they had a good offensive line, I could see this team being way better. But that's like any team in the league. It just everything starts on the offense and defensive line. If you don't have a good offense or defensive line, then good luck. You're not getting to where you want to get.
yep.
So cool, man. You feel good?
Yeah, I'm feeling good, man.
All
I
right.
think we covered a bunch of stuff. We won't bore anybody with too much football talk. We could talk about this for probably hours, but
Yeah.
just a little taste of it, and probably
Yeah.
do this every week and try and get some sort of fantasy slash I don't know something going here in the next year or so. But we'll play it by ear.
Yeah. I appreciate you, man. Thanks for joining us for another episode of High Country Hangouts, and we'll catch you later.
Sounds good, man. See you guys.